going on, guys? Sorry, we usually have a queue up and stuff, but we were fooling around on
The pre-show.
Instagram.
You have to watch the pre-show.
We
people.
were totally fooling around on Instagram so much. I'm so sorry, but not sorry because because it was lots of fun.
Are you going to be mic'd? Are you going to be mic'd this week?
Dancing Queen.
So we got a lot of stuff to talk
Yeah, we
about
do.
this week.
jump right
Seriously, there was so much stuff
And I'm so
happening this
prepared.
week.
We have
You're so
5 things to
prepared.
talk about, and then there was a list of 10 things that I was supposed to also do work on, but I didn't.
But
And
then you didn't do them.
yeah, I got confused about when I.
What do you mean?
So
I got
I was
confused
the
about when
only
I was
one here
supposed to-
today. I was the only one here today that did the homework.
No, I did homework.
No, I did.
I
There was extra bonus work that I didn't even ask for.
Extra bonus work? Yeah, we usually only
I had to
cover-
finish Red Dead Redemption.
We
okay?
usually only cover so many,
God.
but this week we're kind of going to go through some of them a little bit faster than
Video,
others. So
video
we're going to
games,
spend.
video game lives matter too.
Well, that's true. It's true. Video games
I
lives
feel like
do
I was
matter
cramming
too.
for a test this week.
All right, so let's get
Fast.
started, guys.
Last minute.
Yeah, we have to.
First up, we have Yokohama Duel.
That's all the time we have for Yokohama Duel.
By-
Next up, we have.
Tasty Minstrel Games. This is for 14 plus. It's for 2 players and 45 minutes. So this is they took Yokohama and then they made it into a 2-player game, which is really interesting because I know Dinosaur Island did that with Dinosaur Duel and stuff, and I'm wondering if we're going to see more 2-player games as this sort of trend continues.
There's a lot of, they've been doing it for a while. Agricula's done it.
Yeah.
What do you guys usually, how do you guys usually feel about the 2-player version versus the full version?
I think it depends. So
It
for
matters how
me,
much
I
they
really,
cut it
I really
down,
like
yeah.
Duelosaur Island, but she wants the full experience of Dinosaur Island. So for her, it wasn't as fulfilling. But I like the fact that there's a 2-player game that we can because a lot of times it is just the 2 of us, and I feel like you can knock out a couple 2-player games,
Yeah.
3 or 4 of them in a couple hours, and you're
Yeah.
it still gives you a taste of a bunch of different games without these huge
I feel
setups.
like I usually lean towards the 2-player version for whatever reason. Like 7 Wonders Duel,
Really?
I like way better than 7
Ooh,
Wonders.
Seven
Oh.
Wonders Duel was so good.
I like both.
Yeah.
I like both,
Yeah.
but 7 Wonders Duel was really
I like
good.
the
Yeah.
smaller 2-player Agricola better. I like Duelosaur Island better too. So
I feel like if they change it in a way that makes it really good for 2 players, as opposed to the Dinosaur Island or Dinosaur Duel,
yeah.
it was not just a smaller version, but a lighter version, and I
Yeah.
prefer a more in-depth one.
It's
Yeah.
usually more streamlined.
Right, whereas 7 Wonders Duel was not a lighter version.
Yeah.
That was still it was almost a souped up version because it became more thinking about trying to make sure that you had full management of the cards as opposed to the other players.
But I think
So-
realistically, going back to DrGloryHogg, what he was saying is you do get those to the table more, though.
That's
So
true.
you're
forgets
right,
about
they're
that.
lighter, but you get to play it more.
She forgets about
That's
that. She's
true.
all about these
'Cause,
big,
you're-
heavy games. She's
you're
like,
ma-
oh, it's only
yes.
3 hours, but then
No,
we
I-
never play it.
and I love those 3-hour play experiences too. But
Yeah.
I just noticed that
Right.
realistically,
Battlestar
when you're
Galactica's great,
Hello,
but I
everyone
can't play it every
joining us.
right,
weekend.
you're making content, you've got kids, you've got jobs. It's like you don't
That's-
actually get to those.
That's
very
why an
often.
hour is my sweet spot because I feel like I can play 3 or 4
Yeah.
games a night, or just
You're a
2 if I'm
realist.
playing with my buddy John.
All right, well, what do you guys think about Yokohama Duel?
I thought it looks good. I
I-
think you had to go deluxe though because with the
Yeah.
the quad blah.
Quadfold.
No, it was the dry erase scoreboard is what I liked. I
Yeah,
thought that was
I really
nice.
like the fact that people are going to dry erase scoreboards and dry erase boards for things because I would prefer that over just wasting those papers,
Yeah,
you
burning
know?
trees.
Well,
Right.
not only is it the tree thing, it's also you feel okay, I'm losing part of my game every time I play it.
Right, at some point, even
I'm
though it's
gonna run
probably
out.
never
never
happened,
thought
at
about
some
that.
point I feel like I'm going to run out of those.
Remember
Every-
Welcome to
Every
with
game
100
with
with
every
100
game with a pad is like a legacy game. You're like
Right.
throwing pieces away.
when you play Welcome to and you got 20
Into the
people playing,
fire.
you're thinking to yourself, there goes a fifth of my game.
That's right. That's
Fifth of
right.
it's gone.
That's so funny.
This
Well,
is-
I've never played the base game, so I wanna. Well, I'm interested in this one, but I'm kind
Yeah.
of feel like I'm not the best person to ask because I want to try the main game
yeah.
first and see if.
Well, what's cool is that you can also get the main game and the
can.
deluxe version of the main game,
And the
or just the
deluxe
up,
version,
or
yeah.
Yeah,
just the
I
upgraded
really
tokens
liked
for
that
the main
portion
game.
that they
That is
re-released
cool.
the deluxeified version for this game, which
Yeah.
was really nice.
So I have a buddy who owns Yokohama. How long until this ends? Because I want to play his version real quick. Decide if I like it.
I think we got 14 days left on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make this work.
2 weeks to
All
create
right.
the game.
And then
But
I'll make
it
my
does
my
it does look
decision.
interesting though.
Yeah.
And I like how they did it where they said here's what you get in the regular version versus the deluxe version, side by side. There it is. I was like, oh, that's actually pretty sweet. Like I liked how they did that.
Right.
Well,
I felt like it was like when you're buying a computer online or something, or you're like, you're looking at microphones online or whatever you kids buy these days.
So I feel
lava
like
lamps.
Lava
the
lamps.
deluxeified version of
Deluxe
this, like you
blobs.
have to like Yokohama, of course, for the deluxeified version
Sure.
of this, because the
Do you?
price between them, I'm like, okay, $30 I could spend on like a duel sort of game, like for 2 players and
Yeah.
stuff. But then when you get to the deluxeified game, I think it goes up to like $50.
Yeah.
But if you
You're
missed
getting
it,
a lot of stuff,
yeah,
but
if you missed it the first time through, though,
Well, think
This is
about
such
like
a
you
cool
said, like
opportunity.
Seven Wonders Duel. Like Seven Wonders Duel had a really cool, like if those were upgraded like coins and stuff. Like it'd be
Yeah.
worth it.
yeah.
It just depends on what your cash flow is like. Your cash flow.
What is your Kickstarter cash flow like?
always not enough.
Always not enough. I
There's
agree
always
with that.
more I want than I can.
It's gotten way worse since we
realistically
started this.
afford. It's gotten way worse since I started.
Yeah.
Hey,
I
should I
used to-
join the show?
I used to just have blinders on.
So-
basically.
This is an economic game. It also has some area control in it with the cards and stuff like
It's
that.
worker placement.
It's worker placement.
Yep.
It seems like a super solid game. I'm
And it's
excited to
TMG.
play it.
Established company,
Yeah.
trusted track
TMG,
record.
they have amazing products. I mean, they don't skimp out on stuff or
Yeah.
anything. I love the deluxeified version of this. But, Greg, would you back this?
I'm gonna play my buddy's version first
You're
and
going to
then
play your
make a
buddy's version
call.
first. Okay.
But I'm interested. I only heard good things about Yokohama. So
Yeah.
I'm definitely interested. And I tend to like those 2-player versions better. So
Dr. GloryHogg, would you back this?
Yeah, I'm actually really enjoying like getting into 2-player games now.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause then we don't have to have Greg over. It's just more fun. 2 mics.
Ryan Cleveland says 3-hour games are the best.
Ryan Cleveland's a liar. He's never played a 3-hour
does
game.
Ryan
ever.
have kids? I'm kidding.
He does not.
Well, that's truth. That's truth right there. All right.
He's got
so
2 very happy cats, is what we'll call them.
I'm
They're
gonna say-
definitely not fat.
as of right now,
Oh, calling his cats out. Body
As-
shaming.
I'm not body shaming the cats. They're just very jolly.
I knew we'd end up talking about body shaming cats today.
I'm going to say as of right now, since I have not played the original Yokohama, like I would like to get some sort of knowledge, but
Sounds
I
like
would
someone should've
totally
done their
back
homework.
this Yokohama Duel at $30. I don't know if I would get the full deluxeified Yokohama until I actually play it, because that is a bit more, and we have a lot of Kickstarters to talk about today, guys.
Yeah, let's move on to the next one.
All right, let's
Yeah.
see what's
No
what's
time
up
to-
next.
Good time to.
So we were like a maybe, a
shame
maybe,
cats.
and a yes.
Yes.
Or at least
Well,
you
I
said
was
My-
I was a yes for the regular
is
duel.
To be determined.
Yeah,
TBD.
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 All right, so this is Munchkin Dungeon. This is by Cool Mini or Not for 14 plus 2 to 5 players and will last about 60 to 90 minutes. Now, this is like Munchkin, except in this really amazing 3D form that's like easy to read. I really love what they did with the
Those
mechanics of this
minis
game.
too, by the way.
Oh,
are
well, they always
huge.
knock out the minis.
Yeah.
I love this. Oh
well,
my
it's
gosh,
like you
I'm
take
so
something like
excited.
Munchkin, which is a very diverse world. Like I like the idea of Munchkin in general, and then you add in Cool Mini or Not with the minis, which is great, and then Eric Lang,
Yeah.
and you're just got like I don't see how this is gonna be bad. And people keep going, oh, it's like Munchkin Quest, but I'm like, it's not. It's actually more like Arcadia Quest. It seems very much in that chibi style where you're moving around and you can do cards that affect each other. Now, obviously with Arcadia Quest, you don't have cards that affect each other so much as you just straight up attack each other.
Right.
But this one has cards you can mess with, different things you can do, and it's a push your luck dice game. So I don't feel like it's the same at all. But Munchkin's one of those games that's since it's been around for like over 10 years, people are like they either love it or hate it. And
I've never
I feel like this is different than regular.
I've never
like
really
mu-
gotten
regular
into
Munchkin.
Munchkin, so I'm curious as like Munchkin people how this looks to you guys, because
I
to me
think-
this feels like a great entry into it.
yeah.
I could see people trying this,
Yeah.
being excited by it, and then kind of checking out the
I'm
back
100%
catalog.
more excited about this because regular Munchkin is a card
So,
game that I've played
yeah.
so many times.
Right,
but
right,
this
right.
doesn't, to me, doesn't feel like I'm playing. It feels like I'm playing in the world, but I'm not playing Munchkin.
That's the big thing. So this takes Munchkin, which is a card-based game that I feel like some people have a hard time visualizing if you've never played something where you're equipping yourself and like these cards have weird
Yeah.
actions and
Right,
stuff.
right.
With this, it gives it all a physical basis for
Right.
people to look at and be like, "Oh, okay, here's my character card and I'm putting my treasures on here. And oh, okay, here I'm kicking in a door. I'm literally going into a dungeon here." And
Right.
it makes it so much more physical for people. So I feel like people who have had issues learning Munchkin would do really well going to this, learning the game, and then being able to go to the card game and be like, oh, okay, now I understand the card game because I understand what we're doing and I can
And
think
the card
about
game
it
will
in my
seem
head.
much lighter.
Yeah,
after playing this.
exactly. And I can think about it in my head and figure out what I'm doing now, because I have that visual representation of it.
Plus, I love Munchkin because it's such a dividing game between people. People like get so upset about. People are like, "This is a game that no one asked for," and I'm like, "That's actually not true. People have asked for this game
I love
specifically.
Munchkin
I've heard it."
Steve
because it
Jackson
makes people hate each
has
other.
made a fortune off of Munchkin. I mean,
Right.
clearly people are buying it.
Well,
Right?
absolutely,
They wouldn't
because
keep.
it's
They
such
wouldn't keep putting it out if it wasn't getting purchased.
it's
But it's
such
a gateway game.
a fun, spoofy game
Yeah.
where they are making fun of games
Yeah.
in this game. They're making fun of
Yeah, there's like
different
a comment.
entities in
There's
this
like a
game.
comment
Like,
troll or something in this.
if you don't like that sort of like
Punny.
that sort of punny stuff, then
Yeah.
you're probably not going to
Spoofy.
like Munchkin. Period.
Yeah.
Now, what do you
Like-
guys think of this crossover idea?
I love the crossover.
I think it's cool when
I love
companies
the
are starting to like
crossover
Because you
so
get
come
the
much.
best
together.
of. Yeah.
Especially for this one because they did such an amazing job with the miniatures and seeing those come to life.
I'd like
oh
to
my
see this happen more
goodness.
often. I'm
I-
kind of excited
yeah.
by this. I don't know if it's a trend yet, but it feels like we're on the cusp of this trend of companies kind of
Well,
teaming up and
it's the
working
idea
together.
Preston's
of having
excited
this
about
really,
Munchkin.
Like it's,
Yeah, he is.
it's like having this really like in-depth world that's been put out for, like I said, over 10 years. That's really diverse and everything, and then adding in like cool
The
mini or not, and
polish
having
of
almost like
CMON.
well, and
Right,
having like another
right.
pair of eyes look at Munchkin, say what's the things that I love most about
Right,
Munchkin,
right.
and then condensing it down into a new game.
Right, because Eric Lang took this and he said he wanted to involve that Munchkin premise and all that fun associated with it and build something
and
off of
trick
that.
it
And
out.
yeah, exactly. And that's a perfect word for it. He wanted to trick it out. And
He's
that's
like Exhibit
perfect.
with an old beat
That's
up
right.
car. He's gonna
Each of these minis
Pimp
has
my
a flat
game.
screen on the back.
that's gonna be Eric Lang's new video. It's gonna be a Pimp My Game.
My game.
He's like, boom, add some miniatures into that.
Well, and I love the fact that you're fighting for fame in this. So, you can go
Uno
ahead and go
with
through
minis.
and you can, die and you can get equipment and all these things. But in the end, you're going to win with the most fame. So, like,
Yeah.
how much awesome stuff did you do in this
Yeah.
dungeon?
Well,
so,
and then like they said, the more you push into the dungeon, the more like threat you get,
yeah.
and so the more other people can play cards on
Can
you.
gang up on
So
you.
it's like not
Yeah.
only are you
Yeah.
fighting monsters as you go in, like the farther you go in, your friends are like, "This son of a bee, we're taking him out."
Well, and that's the fun of Munchkin that you're talking about.
Right.
And finding a way to like
But that's-
add mechanics that are true to that theme.
Right, but
But
that's the
also,
part
like,
that
have
people
a
get
catch-up
upset about.
mechanic.
Yeah, that's the part that people
Well,
get
you
upset
don't-
if you're not into
yeah.
Munchkin for just fun.
You have to
you
know
have
that
to
it's
know.
a take that.
Yeah, you have to
screw
know
your
you're gonna
neighbor
get
kinda
attacked at the
game.
end because
Yeah.
everybody wants to win. It's not a co-op, guys.
Ryan Cleveland, you will not be able to blend other Munchkins into it. This is a
it's
separate
standalone.
game. Yeah,
Yeah.
separate game from it. That you need different stats and everything for the cards. Now, I do like what you guys said about the threat pool in this because in the card game, you never know what's going to come out, and sometimes the game will be delayed by people like sitting on things. With that threat pool, you know exactly how much threat is out.
Yeah.
And what you have to work with and stuff. So I feel
And
like
you
that puts
choose
a
to
good
keep going
cap on
deeper.
things.
Right, and you choose to go deeper into the
Yeah.
dungeon or to stop if you feel like it's too risky. Where
Yeah.
like in regular Munchkin, you could be sitting there at level 9 waiting for like a cheap or low level monster to come up, and you're just like, oh, no monster, pass. Oh, no monster, pass. Oh, no monster, pass. And you go like 5 turns just waiting for any monster to fight, and then some big giant monster comes out and you're screwed.
Right. So I'm like, I love this. I love what they did with it. They did an excellent
Yeah,
job.
and
And
they're
of course,
obviously-
with Cool Mini, you're going to have like a million Kickstarter minis and,
And
stuff like that, and
expansions and-
expansions.
So clearly they're gonna support this. This
yeah,
is
they
not
have
gonna
a
be like a one and
Cthulhu
done.
expansion already. They have this
Look at this board silly with the meeple
expansion. Look
and,
at
like,
the
the
meeple
dice.
guy. Oh my goodness. And then the crawling hand for the Kickstarter. That's like a classic one right there. You have to get that one. And the little Munchkin Cthulhu.
I
oh
like
my
the angry
goodness.
Cthulhu, right?
I also feel like these minis are good for like beginner painters because they're like
Ooh,
so.
that's very true.
Well, it's like that
Well,
kind
like
of
the Arcadia
yeah.
Quest
Yeah,
ones
yeah.
are like that
it's not
as well.
so small,
yeah.
not so detailed. They're more cartoony.
Yeah.
Right. They make things a little bit more fun, and that's kind of the level that they're going for with this and stuff. So
But I think eventually, if
what
this is a
Epic
hit,
board?
Yeah.
They have an Epic board.
Alright, calm down, you.
Oh my goodness,
Did you not
that's
look at this
new.
today?
I just saw $12.
I didn't
fall
look
out of
at
your
this.
wallet.
I didn't
Yeah.
look at this today.
Well, she was all
I
excited about
just
the
looked
sheep.
at this yesterday.
You
Yeah,
also-
yesterday
and
I was
the sheep
excited
has
about
been
the
backed.
sheep. Yeah.
Yeah, it's done. It's ready. It's in
Okay.
there.
Okay. So yeah, because you need a pirate sheep. Like, I mean, obviously, guys.
Pirate sheep. duh.
All right. So, Greg, would you back this?
I don't think. I mean, I'm not a big Munchkin person, but I'm excited that this is out here. It's a pass for me, but I'm excited that it's out there, and I think it's a good. It's a cool trend of the crossovers between the different companies. So I'm excited by it.
Dr.
Word.
Glory Hog?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're gonna back it. Just
Yeah.
almost on minis alone. But I do enjoy Munchkin. I played thousands of hours of the card game and tournaments and everything else. So like the card game has lost a lot of its appeal to me, but this gives me
like
the things
renewal.
I like about Munchkin, but in like more of a board game, because I'm more into board games now than card
Look
games
how cool
in
they
general.
look
Right.
painted.
I know they
Yeah.
look so good, right?
And who doesn't want to use like that Bullrog like in like other games that have minotaurs? Like think about your D&D campaign and you bust that guy out. I mean, it's just all D&D campaigns turn into that anyways, where you're just joking around and being idiots. So like, and that's what it's making fun of is D&D. Like you got your chauvinist pig and sphinx and platypus griffin thing, and so it'd be fun to play with these in a D&D campaign even.
So I'm going to say I'd back this. Cool Mini or Not does an amazing job with minis. You always get a ton of stuff for the money that you pay into it. They're doing a really good job on getting those Kickstarters to you at a better time now, which is fantastic.
Yeah, turnaround's
And
faster.
I really love your comment that you said about having that like
Aw.
renewed portion for the game, because I talk about Munchkin a lot and I play a ton of Munchkin games, okay? And it makes me really excited to play this version of it. So yeah, I'm gonna have to say I'd back that. Boom.
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 Oh,
Hi Vincent.
wow,
Thank you
Vincent.
for joining
way
us.
to show up late. You've already missed one whole thing, Vincent.
You didn't miss much.
We just saved you $30 by you missing the first
Next
thing.
up, we have Champions of Nexum. This is by Board Legends.
Spoiler, everything else is way more expensive
It's
than the first
for
thing.
1 to 8 players, 60 to 90 minutes. This one here, what were your guys' first impressions on this game? Because this is a MOBA style game, so this is based off of a computer
Did you
game.
see this comment that David said this is his first CMON Kickstarter? Bring your wallet, buddy.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
I
Welcome to
kickstarted-
the CMON Kickstarters,
Yeah,
David.
We
Oh my
kickstarted so
gosh.
much CMON like last year that it was like a dependent on our taxes. It was just like, I was like, what do we spend more on, the mortgage or Cool Mini or Not
Or
Kickstarters?
well, you know what? We are big fans of Cool Mini or Not products. They make amazing products.
true.
Like they do some
Hashtag
really
truth.
excellent stuff. Okay, so
This game looks,
Champions of Nexum.
yes.
The look is awesome.
The minis in this are stupid good, right?
And the board is beautiful too. It's so colorful.
A lot
I
of
mean,
popping color
it
there
really
with it.
pops
Yeah.
out at you. And I like
Mhm.
that the minis are kind of
Very
like
vibrant.
kind of cartoony.
Yeah.
A little bit.
But also still look like cool monsters
Right.
and stuff.
Yeah.
It has just a different look. I think a lot of people go down the route of let's see how like grotesque and monstrous our
Yeah.
minis can be. And these are kind of like cute in a weird way as well as being kind of scary. And
Right, like I
ferocious
want
looking.
like some of these just for the minis themselves.
Yeah, this has an amazing production quality value
But
to
you're
it.
gonna pay for
And it is backed, but I'm wondering who's backing this game. Like, I'm wondering
You know
if
who's backing it is the Fortnite, Overwatch.
That's what I'm saying, like,
because
I'm
it is a
thinking-
MOBA. It's a skirmish style game, like Dota.
You mean you're surprised it's funded? Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, I'm thinking that the majority of backers for this are video game backers.
So,
like, I don't know
video
how
game-
interested board game people are in that video
looks-
game aspect.
It looks
I think
cool.
though
It
it
looks
gives you.
good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of crossover because like I play those types of
Absolutely.
games too. There's
Yeah.
a lot of crossover, of course. It's not like you have to pick video games or board games. I think you get anybody who's into like that Blizzard, World of Warcraft, like style
Sort
of
of
game
theming
where
and stuff
it's like
to it.
one versus many or teaming up and doing all these different things. Like I think that's probably the people that are most interested in this, or even friends like Tim who are like war gamers that want something a little bit more just in your face fighting versus like I'm going to set up my skirmish line and move my cannons forward. It gives you like a kind of like a just flashy in your face attack.
I think one of the largest sort of populations that board games are pulling from is video gamers.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
I
now
think
especially.
the growth of the board game hobby, like a lot of that's coming from video game players.
You think so?
Yeah, well,
Absolutely.
because-
who
Yeah.
want an in-person experience with their friends.
So
you
our
know?
generation was board games and then a little bit of video games, right? Where now most generations are video games and then introducing them
Yeah.
into board games because
board
they didn't
games,
grow
yeah.
up with monopolies and stuff. They grew up with like already having like PlayStation and stuff.
And I think as
So
those
who's
people
playing
get
Monopoly when you
older
have a
and
PlayStation?
they're
Nobody.
more established and they have jobs
Yeah.
and stuff now, they're like, oh, I want something that I like
More
tangible,
right
you
and
know?
more family time-ish,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like as the video gamers are getting old enough to have their own kids and stuff, they might be thinking like, what can I play with the kids? What's not just a single player? Because video games have gone more and more to single player experiences
Mhm, yeah.
or just online. This gives you a chance of having
Just
like
sit
that kind of
around with
feel,
friends.
but with
I
your
like
friends.
that this has a like semi-cooperative team basis to
team
it, where
versus
you're
team.
you're doing teams and stuff against people. I'm just not as certain about like a tower defense style game. So we've looked at quite a few tower defense style games this year. This is probably
Yeah,
the
'cause
most
Chip
like
Theory had the Cloud Spire.
RPG-ish style,
Yeah.
that I've seen to it. which is intriguing because they've added that sort of like heavy miniature. A lot of the, tower defense ones we see with moving cards or like,
Right.
the chips and stuff.
Mhm.
So this one like looks way more fantastic, but I'm just not sure how well it's going to play. I guess maybe with the team aspect and stuff, it's going to be more exciting having that,
here's
versus
the thing.
each other.
We
and
already
stuff.
have like Attack Wing, both Star Wars and D&D, and it's kind of like that style of game in a way.
No, but not really,
It's
because
not, but
those
it's a
ones
skirmish
are
game.
more about positioning and stuff like that,
This
and
almost sounds
tactics.
like
where
a
this
pick
is
up and
like,
deliver element too, where you go
Yeah,
get the resources
right?
you need, and then that knocks down.
So
the
is this
tower.
closer to like a Wildlands then maybe? Kind of like
Maybe.
guys on a map
maybe
trying
more
to fight
like
it
a
out?
Wildlands skirmishy sort of thing.
But with
if
more
you're playing
powers and stuff.
teams, maybe
I do like the player count that it goes up to
1 to 8.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was going to say that 1 to 8 was
Yeah.
great.
That really stood out to me
For an
as-
hour to
as
hour and a
perk.
half? Yeah, because a lot of times you just can't.
But this is also a first time project.
Oh, Derek Funkhauser finally joined us. Oh my God!
That explained why
thank
we lost 5
goodness.
viewers.
I mean, jeez.
Man.
But the
Thanks,
better
Dr.
question
Funk.
is Lizzie actually watching?
Oh, that's the really
That's what we
important one.
really-
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
we got to hang out with Lizzie at PAX South, and I don't even know if I need Derek anymore. Like, I
Yeah.
think just
So
just
okay,
fine with
so
just Lizzie.
Derek says that Champions has been taking a big hit on losing backers over time. They had an early bird that has caused a lot of backers not to jump in
Oh.
after
'Cause
all.
it was
That
just
makes
so
a
much
lot of
cheaper.
sense.
Burned by
That
that
makes
early bird.
a
That-
whole lot
Well,
of
it's
sense.
very expensive.
Well, and then
it's a first time
Right.
creator on Kickstarter.
Well, and that's the thing is you're
For the
so it's
having
amount
a
of-
big risk.
for the amount of miniatures you're getting, I don't think it's overly expensive, but I think
Isn't it like 120
what's the
or
difference
something?
between the early bird and the regular? Because like I feel like if you go
We'd have
more
to
than
go look,
$10, people freak out.
Yeah,
If
Well-
it's $10, people are fine. But if it's like $20,
I don't remember.
Here's
seeing
the thing,
what
$30
though.
difference
You're
was.
getting
People
these
lose their
people who are
mind.
into video games trying to convert this game style thing into a board game, but they don't know the board game populace and like what is expected from them in there. So like. I think that they're getting like hit and misses with that. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
So
do you-
I don't know how well the integration is
Yeah.
going
so
between that.
so Brady's talking about MOBAs, which is this style game, tend to
Yeah.
snowball for the winning side, which is true. You tend to kind of get advantage, and then your advantage just grows more and more and more.
Right.
And he's saying that he doesn't know how great it's going to work in like board game modality, like how that actually will play out in person.
I'm not for sure.
Because
on
if
that,
it does start to
know?
snowball, like he's saying,
Right.
then it gets to the point where, like, if you're on that losing side where you're just like, all right, we're done, and you almost like just tip your like when you lose at chess, you're just like, I'm done. Throw your king
Right.
over and walk away.
I'm not.
So I
I'm
don't
gonna
know.
say. This looks amazing. It looks fantastic. The
Yeah.
miniatures are great. You're gonna be waiting till 2020 for your game. Like that's understandable. It's a first-time creator.
That's only
They
a
gotta
year.
figure their stuff
That's
out with
next
all
year
these
now.
minis.
Yeah.
But they gotta figure this
Don't
stuff
say
out
that.
with all these minis. But I don't know if I'm ready to accept a MOBA style or a video game style, game from
As
a
a board
video
game.
game company
Sure.
as a board game. It would be different if it was a board game company that's like, hey, we're going to take this board game style and then we're going to, get this video game IP and put it over it, because then they know the balance of board games with that, So there's
can see
a
that.
very fine balance you have
Well,
to have for board games.
The question, right, and the question is like what Brady's bringing up again also is that like you don't want to play a game where you're just losing for for a long
Right.
period of time, which is true. There's other games that we've played that have
It's a
we found that
60-minute
are
game
that
at
way.
least, though. At least it's not like some big
Yeah.
3-hour thing. But
But
no, I agree.
if you feel like you're
I
getting
think-
ganged up on though,
Yeah.
you just even I've gotten like table flipping mad about getting ganged up on in something like Attack Wing where I'm like, all right, I'm already losing. You guys
Wow.
are all jumping me. Like I'm out.
Derek Funkhauser says they have posted 13 straight
Yeah, I
days
saw
of
that.
losing money, which is really interesting. So
Wow.
It's only like four-
Funkhauser's really
there's
watching
only-
their money. Is Funkhauser like an investor?
Greed is good.
he's looking at the video game investment. So, Greg,
I think there's enough risks and it's expensive enough.
yes.
That I'm not.
That you're not gonna back that,
But
okay.
I want it to be good because it looks so cool. I like look at these troll guys or whatever
Yeah,
orcs or
they look
whatever.
Yeah.
amazing.
They look so cool that I hope this is a big hit. I hope it ends up being awesome, and I hope I get a chance to play it at some point.
could feel that.
because It looks so cool that
It does.
I like that it's just not the same old look as all the other ones.
Yeah, I
but-
do too.
It's different enough, right, that you feel excited
But
about
it's
it.
expensive enough and risky enough that I'm not
Kind
going
of
to
looks
back it.
adrenaline-ish a little bit.
Yeah.
Because you can play adrenaline. It's kind of that same type of, but adrenaline plays really well.
Yeah, but it's one.
Mm-hmm.
Every man for themselves. Whereas this is more team versus.
Dr.
team.
Gloryhogg,
Yeah.
would you back that?
I'm gonna say no at this point in time, and it's not because like he said, it's not that, like because he says it's a bad game, but for the most part, I kind of differentiate what I'm willing to play in a board game versus what I want to play in a video game, and I can go play Overwatch and other big skirmishy types of games online where it's very dynamic and fun and in your face and fast paced. I don't know if I really want to do that in a board game as much, unless it's got something else. Like Arcadia Quest can be that way where you're fighting each other, but it's also very tongue in cheek while you're doing it too.
So with this particular one, I know, like I said before, we talked about a lot of other tower defense games, and I think my favorite one was the one with the chips in it because you could upgrade.
Cloudspire.
Yeah, you could upgrade your towers and stuff, and although you were fighting against everybody, you felt like you had a lot of control over your positioning, your tactics, your towers,
because Cloudspire was
what
more
you were
about
doing.
your
It had board game tactics.
Right. Well, Cloudspire was
as
definitely
opposed to all video
territory.
game. Yeah, as opposed to all video game tactics. And I feel like this is all video game tactics laid over a board game, and I don't know how well that's going to work. So I'm going to have to say I'm going to not back this. It looks amazing, though. I want to see
really
this.
like the aesthetics of it.
Yeah, I
This is
really
one
love how it looks. They are doing a fantastic job. I think they just need to get a little bit more market research on the board game portion of this. Like maybe they put this on here thinking, okay, we're going to sell this purely just because of the video gamers, you know?
I think this is definitely one that we would have benefited on actually getting to play before just reviewing it. Because, like we said, none of the game doesn't look bad itself. It's just we're unsure about how if it's
as
worth
far
$110.
as the layer. Yeah, because $110 is a lot to spend, you know? Like I can go over to Cool Mini or Not's one, Munchkin Dungeon, spend $110 and know I'm getting a sound board game that everybody's going to enjoy, plus minis, plus expansions, like all that stuff for the same money. So, like, I'm probably not going to back this one because of those reasons. So
yeah, this is definitely a play before you buy.
But it looks amazing, guys. So if you enjoy that, if you enjoy that, and it is funded. So I mean, like, back it if that's something you guys want to try.
I want to see this out on the market.
If you try it, let us know how it is, and then we'll go ahead and be like, oh, okay, we should have done that.
Then we can have the FOMO of like, why didn't we
buy
buy
guys.
it?
Are you guys ready for the next one? I'm so excited about the next one, guys. Oh my god, Hyperspace. It's a 4X game. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. And you play this in real time.
Yes.
Play it in real time. I'm
That
so
is
excited.
There's no like upkeep, like where you're like, oh, this is the
Oh
upkeep
my
phase where we
God.
collect our resources and whatnot.
There's so many of those games that you just go around, and especially in something like this where you're fighting and you're trying to build things and you're just like waiting for somebody's turn to go by.
Right, you get on your phone.
And somebody has analysis paralysis, and you're like, oh my god, like I'm already planning 5 moves ahead. Just like let me go and finish my turns before I forget what I'm doing. Like,
plus, I want to say one of the big things about this game that, which I'm surprised hasn't gotten more play. If you look at the repertoire of what he's done, like Halo Wars, Cthulhu War, the board game, like 3 different iterations of that, Age of Empires 1, 2, and 3. Like these are Doom. These are all like big computer games and then big like tabletop games, and all of them are wildly successful. So all I can do is when I look at this, I'm like, this has got to be good. Like, there's nothing about this game that doesn't seem like it's fun. 20 minutes per player, that's nothing. And just getting to play. And like every one of your ships has a different dice that you're playing.
Ooh, and that was the other thing. It was like asymmetrical. So every person has like a different style of play and abilities and stuff. And that was super exciting because they're going to be going for different things.
That seems to be the theme this week. Is all of these games have like, besides the one we just saw, have like this back catalog, this like trusted.
Oh yeah,
you
got a lot
of
good stuff coming in that they've already done before.
Right,
yeah,
like you can rely on these designers.
Vincent was hoping that we would hate it. You know, I am not a space guy in general. I mean, I'm not opposed to space, but generally space battles don't excite me that much. But this looks so stupid. Like, this looks good enough that I'm trying to convince her to at least go for the $120 pledge.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because I want the 5 to 6
we want
players.
the extra.
And I want the extra 2.
Players,
I want the 2 extra races. I like the idea of picking out 2.
And going to 6 players, too.
And I was reading about this, and they said something that was really important to me. So there's a zoology background in one of the designers. And they said, like, the thought that there would be all alien races would be humanoid is very stupid, essentially. Yeah. Because on this whole planet, we're the only humanoid type species out of all of them.
Yeah.
So there's ones that are based off of fungus, and there's ones based off of like arthropods
Vincent
and all these different things. So I'm actually super excited about. There's like, it almost feels like there's like kind of like a Zerg type like race in there, and there's overminds that are telepathic and slugs. And
I really liked the fact.
So are you excited about it?
No, I'm not gonna back it.
I really like the fact that although
Lizzie's here. Oh, we're done. Show's over.
Moment of silence for Lizzie.
Although this is a 4X game, that there's only 3 actions that you're going to be doing. So it simplifies it. Yeah, it completely simplifies it. Like, it makes it very fast. Everybody's playing at the same time. I love the fact that whenever you're fighting each other, you're using different dice for different ships. So I get to use all my dice.
This is one that we definitely not only do we like need to back, but we need to convince Brady to back and then have him pick two other.
And then he gets to pick two other factions.
So then we can
we all
we can do a
combine
mail
together
swap.
and we do.
Right, we could do a mail swap where we swap them too, like back and forth. Like send me your Broodmasters and I'll check out these ones.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, yeah.
And we need to get Greg to do it also.
And you know what? I haven't heard a ton of hype about this game, and I was really disappointed because I looked at this game. I'm like, are you kidding me? Where's all the people at? It's funded like crazy, but where's all the hype for this?
Hobby
like,
is so huge now.
You can miss
have a
huge
game
Kickstarters.
like this where a percentage of the hobby is stoked about it, and everyone else doesn't even hear about it.
Brady already backed it.
Nice. We got to talk about what you picked for your extras.
Yeah, we'll converse with you.
This is one that like if we just had the funds, I'd back it like the $300 level. That just gives you like
It's just
everything.
so
It looks amazing,
well,
guys.
For $69 is not expensive to give you the game
$69
up to 4.
for the 4 players.
And I feel like that's a really great spot. And then I was like, oh, that makes sense that there's more levels.
It is more reasonable than a lot of these. A lot of the times they start at 100.
Yeah.
And then they go up from there.
Yeah.
Spending $70 for a game to try it out, and then being able to like buy into that 5th and 6th player and other expansions
I
later.
love this, the fact that you can colonize a planet together, or like if you just get angry at
And
them,
still
you're
battle.
like, boom, let's blow this up. Like, and they had some interesting mechanics if you create like trade routes. So if you create a route on several different planets that link together, you get to move your ships like for free and stuff like that as free actions.
Plus,
as
you
go along.
do you see how the tokens are set up in there? Like those are your resource tokens that sit in the side of your little colony.
So freaking cool, guys! I'm so excited about this. Why is there not more stuff?
I don't even like space, and I'm pumped about this.
Well, it's got like what, like $400,000-$500,000 of backing.
It does, but usually
someone's aware of it.
Usually, whenever you see that sort of stuff, you see it all over.
How dare you, Jason Wayne?
You just
don't you talk to me about shipping?
You know?
Jason Wayne said with shipping the base levels even.
Listen. Now you're talking Greg language. I don't like to look at shipping.
It's a little much. I kind of agree with Jason. It's just so much money.
Yeah.
But it looks like it's going to be so much fun.
You're going to be super jealous when you play ours.
You'll be there playing your Starship Samurai, and we'll be like, oh, that's cute.
Oh, that's so nice.
Oh. No, you didn't back it.
All right. Well, Greg.
Vincent, did you go all in? I would cry if I went all in too. I want to. We're not at the level where we're going all in on some stuff.
I wish, yeah. So,
God.
Greg, would you back this?
I've said before, these $100 plus big mini, they come out every
Me
week.
too. How many have I said no to?
I think I'm saying no to this one, but I'm excited that you guys are getting it because it does look awesome. And it has that back catalog of that you could rely on.
Yeah, and there's like 12 extra races that you can get that all have their own asymmetrical different play. Like
This feels like a real passion project for that designer. Like
I think so.
He's decided this is the game where I'm putting all of my cool stuff.
Yeah,
into
he
one
gets
game.
really in depth into the world building, and I think that's what they've done here. They've done world building, they've done some art, and they've made really awesome mechanics with this. And then just that topping on it was the fact that it does play in real time. And it's not a real time game where you're like, oh my god, I don't know what I'm doing. It's a real time game where it's like, okay, I have 3 choices, and this is an easy play out. You know, it's not.
It's not like a speed game.
No.
It's like everyone's doing their actions at
Right.
the same time.
Right. There's just no defined this is our upkeep phase. That's what slows down.
I played Project Elite, for instance, and it was like a real time game, and it was too chaotic.
Right.
You know what I mean? I was I would try it again, but I kind of feel like
I think you're right though. There's a difference between real time versus all at the same time.
Turns.
Yeah, this is more simultaneous.
It becomes so realistic though, because you can have one group of people there having a war, and as they're warring, you're like, suckers, I'm building up over here. And it makes it so realistic because then you're choosing where to spend your time and stuff, and you can get, if you get into that war and it takes too long, you could be missing out on things and stuff.
Plus,
so
you
it
can
makes
get your
it
ships
so
back and stuff too. So
yeah,
that was a big
repair.
point. They said you can repair and get your ships back. So you're not totally out if you botch a big battle. You're not like, oh, that's in.
I thought this was just so amazing. They did such an amazing job. I'm going to say I'd back this, guys.
Yeah,
this was number 1 on my list here. I could not get enough Hyperspace here. We're going to go play it hopefully on Tabletopia or something this weekend.
Yeah, because it is up there. One of them, either Tabletop Simulator
and
or Tabletopia.
DrGloryHogg, you're good?
Yeah, no, I want to back this one for sure.
This is one of the few times he's trying to talk you up and what
I know,
level
right?
That's
true,
because usually I'm just get it at the
he's
base.
the one that's like,
you guys
no.
on the same page here.
Well, usually I try to get it in on the base and then go if we like it, we can buy more for it, because we've done a lot of really big ones. Like Arcadia Quest, I don't regret, But there's a lot of other big ones that we went
Right.
all in on, and then I'm like, we don't play it enough to justify it.
Usually you guys
This is
disagree on
one.
the pledge level.
Right.
And you go straight to therapy after this. It's nice to see you guys on the
Every
same
Friday,
page.
it's therapy right after the Kickstarter
Live
show.
stream
I
Kickstarter
mean,
and straight to therapy.
And I feel like this one, like I
Couples
feel like this one you'll get it, and if you play it enough, then you'll be like, oh, now I want to get some extra,
Yeah.
yeah,
stuff,
where you'll
like
end up
extra
getting
civilizations
upgrades
and stuff.
for it. Okay.
Oh, it'll be a money sink. I mean, think of Cthulhu Wars. How much people have spent on all those expansions and
Yeah,
stuff.
there's been 3 big boxes of Cthulhu
Yeah.
Wars. and
Or I could see this being something that you take to a game shop and then you play like a huge battle or something with a bunch of people, or you have like a tournament style thing
Mhm.
based off of the different factions that you choose. I could see this
Yeah.
very easily going to
It
that.
could,
So,
absolutely.
all right, guys, moving on, we have 1001 Odysseys.
which
This
is exactly
was
one too many Odysseys for me.
what?
Thank you. I'm 1,000 Odysseys or less.
I was the opposite. I was like, if it was 1,002, I'm in.
Yeah.
1,001, it doesn't seem like enough Odysseys.
Once you've gone on 1,000 Odysseys, are you going to go on that last one? You're like, no, I'm at a good even number. I'm going to stay home.
All right, so this is for 9+.
I
It's
just want
for
that plush.
1 to 4 players.
Packages for the plus.
Give me that
30
beat.
to 60 minutes. And whenever I say 1 to 4 players, they did say that this game, although it's listed as 1 to 4 players, you can really play with as many players as you
Yeah,
want.
because you can like team up, which is interesting. Because
Yeah.
it says like 1 to 4 plus, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, that's like.
And if you were
Interesting.
listening right now, this is Twist Gaming having a really funny moment here, so where they're reading out of the book. But this
Not
game
my face.
is really interesting in the fact that it is a heavy story-based game with choices. So thinking along the lines of like time stories, okay, where
I will not.
Or Tales of Arabian Nights.
right, where you're making choices.
This shows you how you kind of like look at all the different things, and
Yes.
that takes
Yeah.
you to the paragraph you read, and you make choices
Right?
from there.
This is like borderline RPG, like a pre-made RPG for you guys right here. And I love the art associated in this game. It
Yeah.
has such a fantasy style feel to it, like that really pretty fantasy style feel that you get from like Dune covers or something. Like the old style Dune covers where you're like, wow, I
The
just want to be like,
pastel,
yeah,
colorful.
I just want to be in that world and see what it's like. It's not like a harsh style
Well, there's
to
so
it.
much gritty. Like, let's see how edgy and gritty and dark we can make our sci-fi world look.
Right, this one-
feels like a departure from that.
This is one kind of like, well, I'll say it again, like an Arcadia Quest style, like entry level where you can, like, your kids can play it,
yeah, and there's
your
that
mom
part
can
you're
play
talking
it.
about.
There's not like any kind of like,
Yeah.
it's so dark that you're like,
Well,
I don't
they
want
made
my
it
kid to
sound like
play.
it's just gonna be like fun adventures. Like,
Yeah.
not
Right.
really like. you
Well, and it
know,
is kind of like a little bit of choose your own
an
adventures.
alien embeds itself in your body and rips you apart from the inside. Like, it's not that kind
Lays
of
its
sci-fi.
eggs
Right.
inside of your nose. Yeah.
This is more.
It's
just
gonna
like
be funny
you run
and
across Girl Scouts.
Yeah, and
or
a sort of
Munchkins or whatever.
fantasy building project
Yeah.
for them. And you know, I really like the fact that there are so many also female people in this. We have a female writing team,
I don't
we have
even like
female
females.
artists, we
No, I'm
have
kidding.
a lot of the people that went into this game and made it were female, and you can tell.
Were they
You can
female?
tell.
Were they female when they started making the game, or by the end of it they? I'm making a joke. I'm sorry.
You can tell that
Crickets? I hear crickets.
the
There's
lighter,
more storytelling in it
There's a lot of storytelling, and
versus
like
just
the
here's
art
minis.
style is more like just not what you would see. It's not what you would see.
It's kind of what I liked about
in
Wingspan
games.
too. The
Yeah.
look of Wingspan with the art and everything. You
Right?
could feel that feminine touch.
You
in a weird
could,
way.
and it
I don't
makes
know how
things
to, like,
unique.
quantify it,
It
but
makes
yeah.
things unique and interesting.
I don't
you
even
know?
see gender, guys. It's all just one to me. Everyone is there.
It. Daniel Zaya says it's pretty. It is very,
You're pretty,
very
Daniel.
pretty.
Damn it.
And you know what, Vincent, my cat would
Should I
try
be
to play
cussing?
it. She would be all over that board. Like,
That's true.
I'm super excited to play this game. And you know, Brady says that they must have taken a lot of stuff from the 1001 Arabian Nights, you know,
Yeah, it feels
sort
like
of thing.
Tales
yeah.
of Arabian Nights.
Yeah.
With like in
In
space.
space.
Right, in
Yeah.
Hey,
space.
before you knock that, I mean, you take Cowboys, you put them in space, you got Firefly, and it worked.
So this one
Or you
here,
have that Harrison Ford movie.
you're starting.
Space, what was that called? Do you remember that one?
Was it Aliens versus Cowboys?
Aliens versus Cowboys.
Oh
Which I
my
think I own on
God.
Blu-ray, but like, but listen, here's the thing:
God.
we watched
In
it
your
once.
defense.
I own it on Blu-ray, but I don't think we've actually like unpackaged it to
Oh.
watch it a second time ever.
Yeah. See, so here's like the people I was talking about. How
Yeah.
like
Oh,
you
that's
have
cool.
a ton of women
Yeah.
participating
Yeah, I honestly didn't even
in
notice.
building this game, which was really interesting.
Yeah.
Because I don't usually look at the designers so much. Like,
Well,
so I
isn't the
didn't even notice
designer,
that.
what's his, I could never pronounce his name, Chris Celiak or whatever, and he did like Red 7 and some smaller
Yeah.
games and stuff too. So that's another one where there's a pedigree. There's
Right.
There's a back catalog.
There was.
There's a bunch of cats at the bottom, so there's a pedigree.
A pedigree? Cats? Yeah,
All right.
Pet cats.
So what do you guys think about this?
I'm intrigued. I like Tales of Arabian Nights.
Yeah.
It's. I don't know if this is going to be too fluffy. Like, I kind of want. I kind of want that like sci-fi adventure, shoot 'em up, action, kind of thing. I don't know if this is going to be. I don't know. This is kind of a try before you buy for me. But
Try
I'm
before you
very
buy.
intrigued by the look and, like you said, the design team and the fact that they're just trying to do something different.
Right. I tell you what, I really like this portion right here, this save and resume
Yeah.
portion here, because if you get in the middle of a story, which is what I dislike about time stories, I feel like you have to finish it
At least
before you
finish
can like
that
move
way.
on. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're all
And
like
this one
30
you're
to
just like,
60 minute
okay.
chapters too.
Yeah.
So like each chapter
You're
should
not
only
playing
be.
like 2 hours worth on that.
And they say
you know?
like it's meant to actually just put it back into the box to get
Right.
it out for the next
Yeah.
chapter.
So I really like that. I think that this lies more on that RPG style game. So I feel like if you're not interested in playing RPGs or playing something like Time Stories, you're not going to like this game. But I feel like they've done a fantastic job with creating a lot of fantasy-based fiction here, and that it's funny.
Do you think it's going to be like a good overarching narrative, or is it going to feel like a lot of little events?
I think it's gonna feel like events because it's
Yeah.
almost like Star Trek where you're like every like episode is its own like little kind of mission.
And these cards too. They don't feel like they fit in with the rest of the game. The cards are kind of.
You don't like the cards as much?
I don't know. It's just text. They're just dark and.
So you
Okay,
want
so
art
you-
on them.
If you had found like
I'm just
a
surprised
city or something, you'd want like this city it to look like a city and
I
stuff
don't know.
a
It
little
just
bit
feels
more.
like the cards don't match with the rest of the look of it. It's a small nitpick, but it's just
Okay,
something
okay.
that stood out to me.
Okay,
How dare you? Where do you think I fall on this spectrum for this game?
I don't know.
I don't think.
I
you're
think
into
it's
it.
it's hit or miss for you.
I'm a little on the fence with it too. Are you on the fence?
No, I'm a miss. I don't.
You're a miss with
I
it.
think it's good. I think it's one of those games that like I would like to get myself into at some point in time, but it's just not something I feel like I need to own.
Also, it seemed like, like I said, I kind of crammed for the test this week, but it seemed like the price was a little high too for
Was it?
That's-
basically a lot of text.
I
That's
try not to look
the
at. I try not to look at the price until after I
only-
review it. Like then I'm
Yeah.
I feel like that's a deciding factor. I mean, the people
It
tuning
is.
in are probably going to be like, dude, I can't afford all this stuff.
That's the
Well-
only nitpick that I have is the price on it. Other than that, like I am sold on this. I love
you
storytelling
like. I was gonna
games.
say you like
I love
storytelling games.
choose your own adventures.
In
I
general, I don't.
love how this could be an integration for children and stuff, and having them like integrate into RPGs or making meaningful choices in
Like, I
games
prefer
and
more-
exploring something.
This
you
is-
know,
this is how I
prefer
live
a
my
more overarching story though than a bunch of little events.
For
I
me-
think that's part of what has me on the fence.
I
as
think the
well.
problem for me with storytelling games is either I'll just read a book, like I'd rather just read
Yeah.
a book and like have my own
But it's fun to make
imagination,
choices
or just
and-
watch a movie
but
of
with
it.
a group and stuff like that, it's so much fun.
Yeah, but I'm good.
So
I don't-
Legacy
fun.
of Dragonholt.
I like
was
to read my
this-
books privately. I
You
don't-
like time stories though?
I do like time stories, but there's like things you're doing. Like there's a bunch of actions
that's
you're
more
having to take and
mechanical-
dice and
With the
mechanically
dice
driven.
and I like
stuff.
I like the time travel aspect of going back and like
Yeah.
trying to fix your
redo it
mistakes.
again and
right?
stuff?
But like
Okay.
Legacy of Dragonholt had a similar feel, like a fantasy. You're going through a story, but there was like an overarching story,
Mm.
and it was like this cheap, like relatively inexpensive. It's just like a booklet, and you just read through it. This seems high priced for the same kind of experience, and not like necessarily as much of an overarching narrative. So I don't know. I'm a little, like I said, those are my.
This is one I
concerns.
wouldn't mind playing it. I'm not opposed to
Yeah,
playing it. I just
absolutely. I'd want
I
to
don't.
try it.
Out of all the games we looked at this week, I'm already going for the Duel. I'm already going for Munchkin
Right.
Dungeon, and I'm going for the space
There's a
one.
lot of good stuff this week.
There is a lot of good stuff
And
this
good
week,
stuff
I
we
guys.
just
didn't
Yeah.
cover, by the way. that
Yeah,
I'm
there's a
also
ton of stuff
really
out right
eyeing
now.
now.
Yeah.
So I just
yeah.
can't. But I'm only looking at 3 out of the
Yeah.
5. There's just I can't fit another game in. at
Well, this
point.
one here was a win for me. Like, I want to back this. I want to back, female artists, creators, and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I love the idea. I'm super excited to play it. I'm excited to play it with my kid, especially because I feel like this will be a really amazing adventure for her. So,
I remember playing Adventure with her, and everything was just like, and then,
and
and
then
then,
an
and I ate
RPG,
the
and then
chocolate,
she's like,
then,
and then
and
this
then-
happens,
and we were
and
like,
then
whoa,
she
you're
was so
not-
excited.
we were like, you're
We're
not
like,
the storyteller.
You're not the DM of this story. I
She
am.
was like, and then a unicorn came out. We're like, where the heck is this unicorn from? Doesn't even exist in this world. She's like,
using
and
her
then,
imagination.
and then.
So, what was your favorite game that we saw here today?
The one I'm most likely to back is probably the Yokohama one.
Yokohama?
Because
Okay.
I've just been
You're our
loving,
Euro gamer too.
Yeah, and I've been loving
And
those
two-player
two-player
gamer.
version experiences of bigger
Right.
games.
You don't have a lot of friends. That's actually not true. He has big game nights, guys. He has the biggest game nights. So huge.
Huge.
They're huge. You could say.
Huge
Big
game
league.
nights.
His-
So big.
His game nights are so big that they even dwarf Donald Trump's hands. That's how big they are. They're that
Whoa.
big.
Wow.
That big. Just huge game
All right.
nights.
Getting into your political
Huge.
chunk.
DrGloryHogg, Hyperspace.
Yeah, I'm so in
100%
hyperspace. But
Hyperspace.
the only reason why I say hyperspace is because like Munchkin Dungeon was already kind of like a duh. Like no matter what, we were gonna back that one. I think because of our love for Munchkin. That was probably the first gateway-ish game we got into. That like I forget where we found it, but we found it at, like a little card shop. Like they sold Magic the Gathering and other stuff. We bought it, and then like for a while there, like every year, I would get you every expansion to come out for like
That's
Valentine's
right, you did.
Day,
Yeah.
and like oh here's the Steeds expansion, and we played that
That's
one
right,
a
we
lot.
played
So-
that
Big
forever.
Cool Mini Not fans too, so that's like two.
Yeah.
great
I know,
days
it
that
was
taste
like
great
our
together.
two
So
ones
the-
that we
so
had
like the
together,
only reason
yeah.
I'm more excited about Hyperspace than that one is just because like that one was like a duh, like that was just gonna happen anyways.
Right. Okay. I'm most excited for Hyperspace because that is right up my alley, and then I love the fact that it is real time, and so that just adds a whole different
Simultaneous
yeah,
turns.
it adds a whole different
Simultaneous play.
aspect to it, and I really love that aspect because I mean, gosh, being able to real time play somebody with that would be
Simultaneous
so
turns.
awesome. So awesome. Second up, though, I would have to say the 1001 Odysseys. Like,
Really? Okay.
yeah, that one is
That's
just
fair.
it draws to me visually. It draws to me in that fantasy thing, and I think that's a big thing for females in gaming. There are just certain things you're drawn to differently than men. Like
Well,
art for me is super
Well,
important.
right, and then just to be fair, I mean, what you're drawn to is completely different to me. Like you're 100%
Yeah, that's
more
true.
more into like
That's
a war
true.
game or a 3-hour like economic game.
Yeah,
Where, like
I'd much
I
rather play
loved,
those.
like
Raccoon Tycoon.
Tycoon, but you're like, oh, it was only 30 minutes. It was too short for me, and I'm like, that was fine. Like
It
I
packed
enjoyed
a
it.
lot into those 30
Right,
minutes, though,
right. Like
yeah.
I was excited to play it a second time, and you were like, oh, that was too short.
Yeah, it
so
was. Yeah,
every gamer's gonna have their own kind
style
of
of
idea,
what they really
right?
like.
And
Yeah.
I'm just a hardcore Ameritrasher, and I just don't like storytelling games as much. I'd rather read a book or watch a movie based off of it,
Yeah.
or play an RPG
Well,
where I
fine.
have
You
full
don't get
control.
to play my storytelling
Honestly,
game,
the
so
only thing that like slows me down on that 1000, the biggest thing on that 1001 Odysseys is the price. It just feels like a lot.
yeah.
But and so much relies on the writing in those that I kind of want to hear the reviews first before I buy.
Well,
Right.
So if
it's
you're
either
gonna
well written or not, and if the writing is
Okay,
meh,
so like for example,
then
like
the whole-
Scythe, like Rise of Fenris,
Yeah.
right? Like it has a storyline behind it. It's
Yeah.
a page or two. So even if you got bored of that story, didn't like it, it's still
but there's
Scythe.
still the mechanics.
Right,
that are
like
fun.
Scythe is already so
Right.
good that you don't
have to
need
keep
that
in
story.
mind the fact that if you're gonna get a role-playing game book, you're gonna be spending just about the same price.
Yeah, I guess.
You know, and that's what you're getting. You're getting
Wait,
a
I haven't
role-playing.
been in the-
What-
I've been
look at the-
played in the role playing.
I mean,
okay, it's-
Our people.
It's $75.
Yeah, our
okay.
people can't see it. Look at the books stacked up here. You're getting those books.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
But,
so you're
but
getting.
if the writing is meh, then
I think it's gonna
you
be
know what I
funny
mean?
writing,
I
but
want to hear.
You
the
want some
reviews first.
excerpts out of it
Well, like
and
for
stuff.
instance,
Like
Detective. I didn't like the
the
writing.
writing
in
was
Detective.
meh on Detective. It
And
was.
people
yeah.
love that game, but I'm like,
Yeah.
to be
the
fair,
whole story is him waiting for coffee or
and
waiting-
2-hour brunches.
Yeah.
Like, who takes a 2-hour brunch when you're
so-
solving a murder?
So I'm like going, okay, I understand what they're trying to do here, and on the surface, I assumed it was going to be amazing, but I felt burned when the writing was
And you were
boring,
like,
monotonous.
this is not as good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like I'm just so
Yeah.
concerned about spending $75 on
That's-
until I hear
I can
some
see that. Like I said,
reviews,
I
you
would
know?
want to play it. I just don't feel the need to own it. Because like, how
Oh, yeah.
often am I going to play it
If
too?
someone had it, I'd be like, I want to try this. Just jump in. I want
Yeah.
it because I like the idea of it so much. But I just
So what we need to do is get Alex to buy it
Yeah.
if we ever see him
Sign
again.
in.
That's what you guys got to do for
ever
Kickstarters.
see
You
him
got to
again.
get some people that you know together, and then
R.I.P.
certain people back different games. You're gonna
Yeah.
do
He
Yokohama.
has 4 babies,
We're gonna do
and now all of a sudden he can't be
Hyperspace.
found.
Like you get everybody together.
Yeah.
It's
But
true.
thanks so much for joining us today,
No,
guys.
thanks for joining us today.
Well, I know I did join you guys today, so
Kind
I
of an
mean,
extended.
Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining
yeah,
us.
sorry that it is a little bit longer, but we did have a lot that
There's
we
so
wanted
much
to
good
cover
stuff
Sunday.
And we didn't.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other things that are out right
There's
now.
a ton of other
that I'm
things out
excited by.
right
That's
now.
part of
Yeah.
why I'm also
Yeah.
more hesitant about these.
And
'cause
so when you get into
There's a
that,
lot.
yeah,
those.
you do get a little more hesitant and
Yeah.
choosy with
There's a
what
big
you
Renegade
want
game I gotta
because
get.
of that.
Yeah,
So
there's the Renegade
yeah.
game. There's Wavelength, the new Wolfgang Warsh
That's
game that
right.
I'm really excited by.
Stay tuned for next week. Spoilers.
Sorry.
Terror below.
All right, where can we check you out at, Greg?
New audio podcasts every week. Hooked on Geek. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook's my wife and I. And hit us up. Follow us. Listen.
All right.
Enjoy.
New DrGloryHogg every week. You can find me at Dr_GloryHogg or DrGloryHogg on Twitter, Instagram,
That's right.
or on Facebook. And
Yeah, and make
you
sure
know
to
where I'm
check
at.
us out on Instagram and
I'm
stuff,
easy to
guys. We are
find.
doing like our pre-show before the show, where we talk about a little bit of stuff before the show. And you get to see what goes on behind the scenes.
Shenanigans.
Okay, so follow
More
us on
alert,
Instagram.
shenanigans.
Spoiler alert, more dancing. Apparently. I was in a
yeah, there was lots
dancing
of
mood.
dancing.
And you got
It
promoted
was
again. For a while there, you weren't
many,
doctor,
many
but you're
shenanigans.
doctor.
That's
I'm
right.
back to being doctor.
Your
That's
doctor
right.
is back.
All right, guys. We will see
Your
you
PhD has been
guys
restored.
next week. Thank you so much for joining us.